Hello everybody, welcome to my movie review of American Underdog, the Kurt Warner story. Just got back from watching it. Do the typical thing, plot synopsis best I can, my overall grade, talk about any major themes, and give you some similar movies. This one again, obviously about Kurt Warner, St. Louis Rams football guy. But just before even getting into the movie, I'm not a big football fan. I like hockey and like Premier League soccer currently. But like growing up, I always heard of Kurt Warner, but I didn't really know the backstory, so it's kind of interesting to go see. But again, the major characters, you have Kurt Warner, his wife Brenda Warner, Dick Vermeil, which is the coach at the St. Louis Rams, who was played by Dennis Quaid. You have Zach Warner, you have Sue Warner, you have Brenda's parents, you have Isaac Bruce, Marshall Falk, Trent Green, Ray Lewis. For the football guys, I think Sir Darius Blaine, Mike Hudnett, is like Kurt Warner's like college roommate dude. Just looking at the cast again. Those are about the only dudes I recognize. And then Jim Foster, Bruce McGill. I think he was the Arena Football League guy. And Terry Allen was, I think, the offensive coordinator for the St. Louis Rams. The movie starts off, a young Kurt Warner's watching Joe Montana throw the football for the MVP. So it's getting all inspired, just an opening scene. Then you go right to his fourth year at University of Northern Iowa, I believe. Might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's Northern Iowa. But he's sitting there counting down the days till the NFL draft. He's getting together his highlight tapes. He's got a roommate, a black roommate. I think it was the Sir Darius guy. I think so. But he's basically saying like, hey man, you're definitely not at, I don't know what the 1A school, but like not a highlight school or something. So I'm not sure about like the gradation there. But the roommate's like, hey man, you're definitely not gonna get recruited, so let's go to the bar. They go to like this country western bar. They do some line dancing. Kurt is not with the moves. He's not slick with it. So his roommate, his buddies out there line dancing, but Brenda catches Kurt's eye at this point. She's dancing. Kurt wants to get to know her. At the beginning, only get a couple football scenes really, and then they dance for a little bit, and Brenda's like, won't even give him her name at first. She leaves, and she's like, basically, I'm divorced, I've got 2 kids, you don't want anything to do with me type of deal. Next day, Kurt just shows up at her house with a rose, immediately gets let in by her son Zachary, who's from a previous marriage, and she also has a daughter from a previous marriage. Again, I can't even see the name on here, so I don't know what that is, but not very relevant in the movie, or like doesn't get a lot of face time. But Zach has a younger sister. Kurt comes in, helps him with the radio. You learn that Zach is legally deaf. And then Brenda's parents have Johnny something Joe. I don't know. But one of Brenda's mom is there also living at the place. I think Brenda lives at her parents', but they all live together, Brenda and her family. And he's basically like, let me take you out on a date. He helps the Zachary with the radio, meets the mom just randomly, but then she ends up getting her phone number. And she was like, you should probably call next time, not just show up at the crib. But he got the address from the bartender. So then he calls her to go on a date. She just kind of hangs up on him. So he just shows up at her house and was like, hey, let's go out and hang out or whatever. And she's like, no, I have kids. I have to take care of my kids today. And he's like, I'll just bring them along. So they just go to like I don't know where in Iowa, like a lake probably, but just some, I don't know, are there any Great Lakes connected to Iowa? Probably not. No, fuck no. But they go to the water, and pretty touching scene. You learn that the reason Zachary is blind, or not blind, deaf, is because Brenda's old husband Brad had dropped him on his head when he was a child, and did not waited 24 hours, didn't tell anybody. So he had brain swelling. They thought he was going to die. Obviously didn't die, and now he has just, again, hard of hearing. So pretty much after their first or second date, they're making out. Obviously dating steady now, but again, Kurt is all excited for the NFL draft. He gets a son, again, I'm not sure what the 1A school, but he gets an agent for the draft. He's all excited. Zachary's birthday's coming up. Then learn the draft's a 2-day thing, and he's going to watch both days and go to Zachary's birthday party after. The draft goes through, doesn't get drafted. Goes to the party's kind of sad, but then he goes back and talks with, I think it's Brenda's parents, not his own. You get introduced to Kurt's mother, who's not super excited about the single mom with 2 kids, because that was reflective of her life. But he ends up doesn't get drafted, but he gets a call from the Packers. And so they're all excited. He gets a $5,000 signing bonus, buys a green Trailblazer for the Packers, which he was really excited about the Packers. So he goes to the Packers training camp, and again, I'm not super familiar with sports contracts, but all that, you can get signed and cut just instantly. So he goes there. Gets told you can make a play at his college at University of Northern Iowa. His coach keeps telling him to stay in the pocket, but he goes to the Packers thing, and he gets told, hey, you're up. Go do some drills. Go do this. He's like, I just got here. I don't know the playbook. I don't know what to do. So they're like, all right. And then he gets cut literally the next day, or it was 2 days, but he was there one opportunity, didn't do anything, gets cut. Comes back to Iowa, is with Brenda. They're both broke, and they both decide for Kurt to move in with her at her parents' house. Her dad's basically you have my blessing if you treat her right, type of deal. That's a little later on. They move back in. Well, then Brenda's father's basically telling Kurt, we bought a house in Arkansas, so you guys have to find a new place to live, type of deal. So their parents go to Arkansas. The dad and Kurt again have the, just treat my daughter right, always be there type of conversation. He goes and he's like, things are going to get hard because they always do. And then there's a scene where he also gets approached by a guy for the Arena Football League. It was a pretty funny scene. He's like, oh, Brenda and Kurt are eating lunch. Kurt wants to wait for the actual NFL. The AFL Arena Football dude comes over. He's like, oh, here's my card, and oops, just dropped some money. So I thought that was pretty funny. But he's like, no. And so there's another scene where they're dead broke, really hitting rock bottom. They're driving down a country road in Iowa. It's the winter time. They run out of gas, and Kurt has to run back to the gas station 4 or 5 miles, pay $4 or $5 worth of gas. Couldn't even buy the gas can. Had to borrow it, and come back. And it's like you could have died type of scene. But we're gonna stick it out. We're gonna stay together. Kurt then gets a job at the local store, whatever the grocery store is, stocking shelves. Ends up deciding, just to make ends meet, get some money. Ends up deciding to take up the offer for the Arena Football League. Starts practicing with them. They practice in a cornfield. They play in just some sort of multi-purpose stadium where there's also rodeos and stuff going on. He starts up pretty struggling. The very first game he struggles in the Arena Football League, and then he learns he gets $100 for every touchdown, starts scoring a bunch of touchdowns. Things are going pretty well. Brenda and the kids, and Kurt's close with the Zachary and the daughter at this point, and they have the Arena Football semifinals, and he's like, come on up. They didn't tell him he was coming. They ended up coming up anyway, and then after the end, at this point, Kurt's getting pretty popular for doing well in the Arena Football League. Brenda comes in, and there was a signing afterwards, and she couldn't get to him, and Zachary got lost, and it was just a struggling scene. And then after that, basically Brenda comes up and is just the next day is basically we're done. Like, we got to break up. I want you to follow your dreams, but not with me. And that's kind of like the line. Kurt ends up winning the Arena Football League, and he has a somber conversation with his mother about not having life is about sharing your experiences with other people. So after that happens, you get to another emotional scene. So right after that happens, again you have the scene with the mom, Sue Warner and Kurt Warner on the back of the truck, and then basically the next scene is Kurt getting a frantic call from Brenda. And what happened is there was a Category 4 tornado in Arkansas that unfortunately killed both of her parents. So Kurt goes back down to console her there. They pretty much get back together like right after that, and it's just like an emotional reuniting. But he's basically like, football's not everything. It's not this. It's not that. I'm trying to prove myself. Family. I want to spend my time with you, type of deal. So now they kind of agree to stick with each other forever. Pretty much after that, when they go back to Iowa, because Kurt's going back. I'm not sure where they're at in Iowa, but he's playing the arena football in Des Moines. So they're back together now, and pretty much right after that, Brenda comes back, and he's got a little, light set up and asks her to marry him. And I thought that was a pretty cute scene, honestly. So they get married. They're rocking it together. They play the championship for the Arena Football League. Ends up losing that game, but then he gets an introduction. A guy from the St. Louis Rams comes to say, "Hey, we want you to try out." Then you get introduced to the Dig for Mail, played by Dennis Quaid, who's the head coach. The other guy that I referenced was the offensive coordinator. And the offensive coordinator right off the bat was just applying a lot of pressure, being really, really hard on Kurt. You have a couple scenes. He goes to St. Louis to try out. And there would be a scene where the center drops the ball and the offensive lineman or the offensive coordinator is just grilling Kurt, and it's not his fault. And he just takes it and just showing maturity as a player and whatnot. So back and forth with Brenda. At this point they're solid. They're married. And he's like, I'm not sure how well this is going to go. He's on the phone with her, and one of the assistant coaches is like, hey, Dick Vermeil wants to talk to you. They go up on the top of the stadium, and he officially gets offered a chance to play on the St. Louis Rams. Everyone's ecstatic. He's ecstatic. Calls Brenda. They buy a new house. They're living in a new place. Zachary, who also wanted to be it was a funny joke, a black truck driver, and they clarified it to make it say just a truck that's black, not a black skinned truck driver, which I also thought was funny. But he's riding around on the lawnmower as Kurt's letting him, accomplish his dreams, type of deal. And so he's playing for the St. Louis Rams, backup at the time, again for football folks. Trent Green was, I guess, a big player. Don't even really recognize the name, but again, I don't know much about football. But Trent Green was the starting quarterback, and now Kurt's the backup. In the preseason in 1999, Trent gets injured, and so this is Kurt's big chance to step up. The offensive coordinator's still grilling him. The Dennis Quaid character, Dick Vermeil's very solid on him. And then they ended up he gets grilled one more time by the offensive coordinator, and then they end up giving him the starting spot. So he debuts. He threw, I think it said it was three touchdown completions in each of his first 3 games. And the first game was against Ray Lewis. Again, I'm not sure. I'm assuming this is all accurate and not double check. But played Ray Lewis at I think it was Baltimore Orioles, not the Orioles, Baltimore Ravens. Marshall Falk was also on his team. I guess his main receiver was Isaac Bruce. Did not even recognize the Isaac Bruce name at all. First drive, he gets intercepted by Ray Lewis, but then he starts just lining up the touchdowns. Ends up getting, the MVP of the season, and then in 2000, he's now the starting quarterback. He goes to the Super Bowl and gets the winning touchdown completion, and it comes full circle right back to the first scene of when he's thinking about Joe Montana throwing the winning things. So I think it said he played 12 years in the NFL. He was the MVP, so he was one of probably the most underrated or best story of someone who was never drafted. So that's pretty much where the movie ends, is winning the Super Bowl, and then you just get some more stats. It says they're still married, happily married, got 7 kids now. So obviously 5 more probably. And you don't see any of their kids they have with each other, just the ones Brenda has from her previous marriage. So overall, I would give this an A. I thought it was a genuinely good story that I was kind of familiar with, but didn't really know much. So I thought that was very interesting historically. Major themes. What else did I like about the movie? I liked the romance. I actually thought it was good, well done. I guess I'm not a huge football fan, but it was certainly entertaining, and I like real stories. So, A. Major themes. Again, nothing super great, like sports, chasing your dreams, proving yourself to the world. I don't know, absolutely chase your dreams. I don't think like that seriously, so I don't think like sports or any one avenue is like, this has to work type of deal. So I thought it was a good family movie. I thought it was fun, good entertainment, and good plot line. Similar movies, probably the most similar would actually be The Rookie, starring Dennis Quaid, which is, I don't know what year it's from, but it's about a baseball player, again, an older baseball player who goes to tryouts and can throw the ball really fast. So I thought that was a very similar movie. Also, I would say, I don't know, King Richard, also type of just sports, real stories about sports people. So King Richard, the Rookie, nothing else comes to my head right away for similar movies. But overall, I thought it was a very entertaining thing. And I hope you go watch American Underdog, the Kurt Warner story. And I thought, Kurt Warner, if you're ever watching this, I thought it was an interesting life story. So thanks for watching, and I hope you see the movie.